Welcome to another episode of Women Investing in Women. Robin and I are very excited for you to meet our guest today. And one of the questions we want to ask ourselves as we go into this conversation is, how do we help everybody be seen and heard so that their voice, their message, their purpose is amplified and individuals get an opportunity to get a seat at the table and get engaged? Everything starts with being seen and heard. And as women investing in women, we find women who do this to help other women lift each other up and give women an opportunity to be seated. Seated not just at a table, but be seated at the right table at the right time.
And I am so excited to introduce our guest, Zondra Evans. And I really just met her a couple of weeks ago. Many of the guests we have known for many, many years, but I was at a fabulous women's conference and retreat and heard about Zondra. And I immediately thought, oh my gosh, we totally need to have her on the show. And then I met her at the retreat and conference, and it totally sealed it. Yes, we absolutely are having her on our show. And so Zondra of Zondra TV and other things that she has created to help elevate women's voices and to bring their skills and their talents, and not just bring them forward, but help them to develop it. So Zondra, tell us a little bit about yourself, about what motivated you, what was the inspiration for creating Zondra TV. And I know that's morphed into other things that benefit women.
Yeah, thank you all for having me. This is an absolute pleasure for me to be on your fabulous show, talking about what we do for women. So, I did not wake up one morning saying, I want to be a TV network owner. I want to be a TV star. That was not in my preview. I'm actually a 40-year corporate vet. And so I only worked for two major companies. I worked for Intel and DaVita, and that's what made up my 40 years. So I'm extremely loyal and committed. When I got laid off about 8 years ago, I literally just wanted to do what I thought I was really good at. I'm a certified coach. I wanted to coach women and help them earn a seat at the leadership table, but more importantly, how to keep that seat. And so I did that, and I wanted to be a best-selling author. I think I wanted to do everything that most people do with their exit strategy. Like, I want to do these things, and I want to be, broaden my motivational speaking. And so I did all those things, but one day I got offered my first Roku channel. I prayed about it, and I bought it.
That is such a serendipitous happening. Life always unfolds as it should. We just have to be ready and willing to receive it. It makes me happy to hear you say that. Now, when you are helping women and entrepreneurs be seen and heard and find their calling and their voice, how are you helping them be open to the universe and step into their purpose? Because sometimes people just start doing it just like you started doing all those other things. You have to find your way into where you belong. How is Zondra TV and your work helping women do that?
This is such a great question. I just spoke on at a conference, and I was on stage. And one of the things that I talk about is your blue rose moment, because there are times, we are so conditioned in our mindset to believe only in red, yellow, and white roses. Red roses are what? Love. Yellow roses are spring or Easter. And white roses is deuces, you're out of here. It's a whole bunch of white flowers at a funeral. But blue roses really do exist, but they don't show up every day. And so I call that the unconventional, possibility that shows up at your doorstep. Do you accept the call? So they show up along your journey, but a lot of times we're not courageously intentional to accept that. What I help women do is be courageously intentional to accept their blue rose moment, understand that there's power being coloring outside the lines. You don't have to be mainstream. When I bought my first Roku channel and said, I'm going to make this really be about women, listen, no other woman was doing this. And I'm like, okay, who do I go to? I go to no one. So I had to carve the way for women to be heard, to be seen, and to grow their business.
Wow. Yeah, that is so inspiring. And I love that notion of a blue rose moment, seeing open your eyes to see the rose and then saying yes to life, grabbing that rose or looking at that rose, at least stopping to smell the rose, right?
Yeah.
And what motivated you to frame it as I want to help women find their voice? What motivated you towards helping women specifically? And I realize now it's more bigger than that, but tell us what pushed you in that direction.
Because I am a woman. I am a woman, and I'm a woman of color. And so for me, I had figured out a recipe for success, because if you could spend 40 years in corporate America, and all of those 40 years, I was in the boardroom. I had a seat at the table. So for me, I felt like I had this formula of success for women. And then, coming out in the marketplace, one of the things that I realized early on is that the source of truth for us is really Google. So you have to be able to fill Google with enough content that you are recognized as a leader in your industry. And so that's what really made me want to do it. I'm a woman. I know that women need to be heard. A lot of times we need to level the playing field so that women can have the same resources as men do. And I believe we can run circles around. So that's why I wanted to do what I do.
Very powerful. Everything starts with having a voice and be seen and be heard. But for a long-term viability and staying power, then women need to have the tools and the network to deliver, keep delivering, and keep innovating, because there is a second and a third layer to this. How do you do that for yourself? And what advice would you have for women to embrace that as well?
I this is kind of interesting because I maybe I'm a rebel with a cause. I really don't know. I'm the woman that says I don't want to be just mainstream. Mainstream is doing what everybody else does. When I started TV, people were telling me, "Oh, you should get a learning, an online course and teach people how to be a producer online, and that could be working for you while you're sleeping." But yet that didn't fit me. So I'm not a mainstream girl. I don't want to just do what everybody else is doing. I don't want YouTube or or any other social media platform to be the only way that I'm seen and heard. And I realize that we are in a global economy. And so that's why this global platform means so much to me. And it means so much to other women that continuously are coming to this network to understand that this is the only way to actually own your content and change the narrative.
So you're very much a trailblazer. So what in your life has helped you have the courage the fortitude, the savvy to be able to carve these paths? Not everyone really is equipped to, take their machete and, carve.
No, that's right. This is a good question because I think it's in my DNA, actually. And I'll give you a little history why I say it's in my DNA. My great grandmother, back in the late 1800s, actually ran a company store in a little town called Hooks, Texas. She was an entrepreneur. She had cattle. And she bought 47 acres of land that we still own today in the 1800s. So you have to think about it's kind of in my DNA. And then, not to mention, my cousin was the first African American woman newscaster in the state of Texas. Her name is Iola Johnson. And so it's kind of in my DNA to be a trailblazer and to really carve out a way, not, for women and all people throughout the universe. And I think that's part of our, success, willing to do the thing that is uncommon. I'm willing to do that. And I think I can make something beautiful out of it.
That takes a lot of courage and takes a lot of faith, right? Courage and faith both go hand in hand.
Yeah.
How have you been able to overcome the roadblocks and challenges? Because this doesn't happen, as doors open magically, the sea doesn't part way to give Zondra the opportunity, right? So how did you carve your space and keep the faith and move forward courageously? And
you know what? This is a great question. This is a great question because I was on speaking this last weekend. I keep talking about that because it was so fabulous. Not me that was fabulous, but just the people that were in the room. One of the things is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because without sacrifice, there is no gain. And so anything that you go into, you need to clearly understand, what are you willing to put on the table? And so just so that I was willing to put my primary home on the table in order to build this dream. Now, everybody don't need to do that and everybody don't want to do that, but I'm single, and why not? Okay, I sold my house. I took that revenue. You get to a certain age that you can sell a house one time and take it and not get tax, penalty. I took that money and I built Zondra TV Network and built an academy and built a way for women to be able to step in and access their true potential.
Okay, that is totally mind-blowing. What you just said, that you sold your house and took it and built this, that is completely mind-blowing, to take that risk and to be able to do that. What gave you the vision? How did you have this vision of what you wanted? Or did you just say, I know I want something and I will find it as I will discover it as I'm building it?
Well, here's the thing about a Blue Rose moment, right? I think when you accept that moment, doors start to open and you actually become a little bit magnetic. I didn't plan this, y'all. I didn't go like, oh, hey, I'm going to buy a TV network and I'm going to do. I didn't do that. I think I accepted the call on my life that I'm going to be in media, which is one of the 7 mountains of influence, and that I have been called to change the trajectory. So to me, I think when you accept that, you start to understand, wow, I got a speaking engagement over here. Wow, I got this. But what happened for me is that people start recruiting me into their networks. That's how I got to Comcast Cable regionally, because I accepted to buy my first channel. And that's how I got to Biz TV in Arlington, Texas. And that's how I got to Black Contemporary TV. And that's how I got to Tony TV and Binge Network. I mean, this is how it happened. It started just to happen over time that made me understand you are in your sweet spot, Zondra, and you've got to drive this thing to conclusion. But it's got to be it's got to have the essence of Zondra on it. And so there are certain things that I just believe in and certain things that I won't do and I will do. And that's just that. You got to know your framework. And so I know my framework.
That's a very interesting and insightful know-how into yourself and how you're wired. Mm-hmm. As you are taking this major step, betting literally your farm to make this happen, who are the women who you are able to lean into? Because we all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us and the women who stand beside us. The success of a woman is in her sisterhood. Who are these women and how are they supporting you so that you can step into your purpose and help countless women?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm gonna call out the first one. Linda Fisk has been of Leadership Global has been instrumental for me to be able to have a mentor that really pours into me on a regular basis and is committed to my success. There's a difference in just saying, oh, I got a coach and, but are they really committed to your success? So she's the main one that I call out. But here's the thing. I have 4 different types of coaches. I have a spiritual coach because sometimes I need spiritual alignment. I have a life coach. I have a business coach, right? And I have a media coach because that's where I'm at. And all of those people are looking in different lanes on the things that I need to do better in order to really drive this business. So I've got lots of coaches, but I also have people that mentor me, like Linda Fisk.
Yeah. It's interesting. They say that it's a saying something along the lines that a pygmy standing on the shoulder of giants can see farther than just an ordinary person. Not that you're a pygmy in any sense of it. So you're like a giant standing on the shoulders of giants. So that's really exciting. I know Cass touched on this a little bit, but I'd like to kind of circle around, is asking what are some of the challenges, both internal and external, that you faced within yourself and also externally, being able to create Zondra TV and create other things that you might be doing to help women and give women a voice and a platform?
There are challenges. So I'm a woman. I'm a woman of color. This is not a woman-owned kind of industry, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, being recognized as an industry leader, as a woman in media is a big deal. So that's one. The second thing is being able to, let me see if I can say this right, strategically present the importance of what Zondra TV is and get especially women to understand the value and why you must do this. So I still struggle today because people go like, well, why do I want to be on TV? Well, why wouldn't you want to be on TV is the question. And so that's the thing that I'm going like, of course you want to be on TV. Why? Because that's a platform that you don't have access to today. So yes, you want to be on TV. Yes, you want a commercial on TV. So I find myself still in a convincing stage for women that it's a no-brainer to me. Because you asked me to be on this podcast and interview me, and what did I say? Yes, I want to be on here. But the real reason, if you think about the yes, you have an audience. I want your audience to know, and nobody can tell my story better than me. So the answer is always yes, not why should I?
That is very insightful, Zondra. And culturally, women have been raised to take a back seat. Research shows that by the time girls reach the age of 8, 9, and 10, they stop voicing their thoughts. They stop voicing their opinions. Family itself conditions girls to hold back.
Yeah.
And as we grow up, we start putting everybody else's needs first, and we never voice our purpose, our mission, even our likes and our dislikes, right? So I am so happy to hear that you're asking women the question, why not? Why not your voice?
Why not lift your voice? Why not tell your story? And now I could repeat your story, but I'm probably going to leave the essence of you out of that story. And so I am still in a place of convincing. It's almost like convincing, like, why wouldn't you want to do it? So, I have this speech that I do. And one of the things that I do is I do like the old hide and seek, come out wherever you are. Because literally we are hiding inside of us. Imposter syndrome is hiding us. So I'm asking women to come out wherever you are. Become courageously intentional. Your voice matters. And so get into every single platform you can get into. You should be interviewing twice a week on a podcast. You absolutely should be on TV. And if you have a podcast, it should be distributed on TV so that you can make another source of revenue. Guess what? Men are doing it, but not very many women are.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I have been in 2 different, one, I was at the Comerica has a business symposium for women every year.
Mm-hmm.
And actually 2 years ago, one of the speakers and a woman of color, older woman of color, I can say older because I'm older. I'm 66, almost 67. I say it right out loud. And she voiced that she really had pulled herself up by the bootstraps, that she didn't find a lot of women in her life helping her. And I was talking to one of my very dear colleagues and was asking her, who are the women? You're telling her about this podcast. And I said, who are some of the women that have helped you? She said, zero, none. I just had to just carve my way or find men that would help me. And I was just stunned at this. I just assumed that women are helping women. And so how did you find the women? Were there already women in your life helping you, or how did you go about finding women who would be helpful to you? And that's what this platform is. We're shining a light on women who are breaking that stereotype that women don't help women. And so how did you find the women that helped you?
That is such a great question. You know, let me tell you that I've been relational all my life. Like, you know, even in my jobs, I was a VP of sales and marketing. I was a relational VP of sales and marketing because I believe relationship really does matter. And so when I began this business, I started looking in women that I believe had that juice that I needed. And so I would ask them, I'd love to do an informational interview with you and learn more about you. And really, that's what it was about, not to sell them. I wanted to hear about them. And then I think we have not because we ask not. And then when we do ask, we don't believe it. So I have no problem with asking people, you know, coach me on this. Show me how to do this. I don't know how to do this. You're so poised. Like Linda Fisk, my whole thing with her was she's so poised. And I'm like, you know, I'm just a girl that's like, put it on down. And so I wanted to learn from her. I think we have to humble ourselves and understand that we need to learn from other women. It's a difference in asking somebody to help me. You know, help me sounds like, oh, I'm so weak. But what if I said, would you support me? That's a different feeling, right? So that's what I did. And I think every woman should do that. And I do believe that women are hard. We're hard on each other, you know, and it's like I said, I shouldn't have to be convincing you. It should be an automatic, yes, I need to be on TV. Why am I convincing you? You're great. You know, the essence of who you are, the world needs to know you, and it will change your trajectory.
It's interesting you say that, Zondra, because social conditioning has put women in a place where if ever there is a seat only for one. Oh. And when you get there, you have to continuously question, do you deserve it, or were you given the seat because they needed a female at the seat, right? So all of these conditioning, not just in our lifetime, generationally, influence us. And one of the reasons I decided to do this show with Robin, and we do this, is because we want to break the cycle. There is enough for all of us to do, and there is enough and more for all of us to succeed. And we still won't have the opportunity to do all the things we want to do, right? So when we come from that mindset, what is one word of advice? What is the one advice you have for women to bust open that sense of scarcity and enter into their own abundance? Because every woman is enough.
That's such a good question. That's loaded, because let me tell you, I believe that women have written their storyline that is supported with evidence. So everything that supports the possibility of not being good enough or not or a mindset of scarcity, I think we write the storyline. One of the things that I tell women, what's stopping you from rewriting the storyline? How come you can't be the greatest character in your movie? How come you can't be the greatest character in your book? How come you can't be anything that you desire to be because we're smart enough, we're beautiful enough, we're intelligent enough. We have everything inside of us in order to prevail. But the thing is, are you willing to access that true potential that lives inside of you? Or are you always going to let it hold you back because of some storyline that you've written about you? Change the storyline, change the narrative. You're great. And the essence of who you are is wonderful. The world is waiting on you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is so inspiring. This has been such a great interview. You know, with every single guest, we look at the clock and we go, oh my gosh, has this 25 minutes flown by? And the same thing here. We totally want everybody listening to this podcast when it's released to know how to get a hold of you, how to learn more about Zondra TV and anything else that you're involved with. Can you tell us how to get involved? And we'll also include that when we post it.
Oh, absolutely. It's really simple. Just go to beonztv.com. That's beonztv.com and check out all of the great work that we're doing for entrepreneurs. We're excited.
This has been a inspiring and fun conversation, Zondra. So thank you so much for bringing your whole self, not just your thoughts and ideas, but your whole being and the sense of who you are into this conversation. It is our hope and our goal to have women in our community and our network watch this interview and reach out and start building those networks so that their voices can be amplified. And as you said, we want every woman out there to step into her own light and accept her blue rose moment. Become the woman you were intended to be when you were created.
Yeah.
And by accepting that moment, embrace your sense of abundance and be the woman who is going to shine and help others shine.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. It's been an amazing 25 minutes.